Hey everyone, and welcome back to Pink English.
Hi, everyone. We are so excited to learn with you today.
I'm Sophia, and this is Daniel. Our goal is to make English easy and fun for you.
Exactly. If you enjoy our lessons, please hit the like button and subscribe. It really supports the channel.
Today, we are talking about personality.
We will practice listening, learn keywords and phrases, and boost your confidence. Ready? Let's dive in.
It is such a fascinating topic, isn't it? I feel like personality is one of those things we talk about constantly without even realizing it. Every time we gossip about a coworker or describe a first date, or even talk about a movie character, we are analyzing personality.
That is so true. I was actually just talking to my sister about this yesterday. She started a new job, and she was describing her boss. She kept saying things like, he's nice, or he's strictly business. And I realized that our vocabulary for describing people can sometimes be a little limited. We often use the same 5 words over and over again.
I completely agree. We tend to rely on simple words like nice, mean, funny, or shy. But humans are much more complex than that. Having a specific vocabulary allows you to paint a picture of who someone really is. It helps you express exactly why you get along with someone, or perhaps why you clash with them.
Clashing with people is the worst, but explaining why is definitely a useful skill. I also think talking about personality is a great way to bond with people. It is deep small talk. You aren't just talking about the weather, you're talking about what makes people tick.
What makes people tick? I love that phrase. For our listeners, when we ask what makes someone tick, we mean what motivates them or how their mind works. It's a great idiom.
Thanks. I try my best. You know, I've always wondered about the nature versus nurture debate regarding personality. Do you think we are born with our personalities, or do we learn them from our parents and environment?
That is the age-old question. Most psychologists seem to think it's a mix of both. We have certain natural tendencies, but our life experiences shape how those tendencies come out. For example, you might be naturally energetic, but if you work in a library for 10 years, you might learn to be calmer and more quiet.
That makes sense. I used to be incredibly shy when I was a child. I would hide behind my mother's legs whenever a stranger talked to me. But now I'm talking on a podcast to thousands of people. So clearly, personality can shift over time.
Exactly. It is fluid, not fixed. And because it is so complex, we need a really robust set of adjectives to describe it accurately. We are going to move beyond the basics today. We want you to be able to describe the subtle differences in human behavior.
I'm ready for it. I want to be able to describe my friends, my family, and even myself with better words. Sometimes I want to say I'm hardworking, but that sounds so boring. I want a word that has more power.
Then you have come to the right place. We are going to look at positive traits, negative traits, and those confusing traits in the middle. We'll break down the spelling and the usage so you can use them immediately.
Let's get started. I'm tired of using the word nice. Give me something better.
All right, Daniel. Let's start with a very strong positive trait. This is a word for someone who has a strong desire to achieve success, power, or wealth. The word is ambitious.
Ambitious. I like that one. It sounds strong. How do we spell it?
It's spelled Ambitious. Ambitious.
Okay, Ambitious. So if I say someone is ambitious, does that mean they just want money?
Not necessarily. While it often refers to career or money, you can be ambitious about anything. You can be ambitious about your art, your fitness, or learning English. It essentially means you are not satisfied with being average. You want to climb higher. For example, you could say, Sarah is incredibly ambitious. She plans to be the CEO of the company within 5 years.
That is a great sentence. I feel like being ambitious is generally seen as a good thing, especially in the United States or other Western cultures. We like people who want to grow.
Yes, but like many personality traits, it needs balance. If someone is too ambitious, they might be seen as ruthless. But generally, it's a compliment. Now, let's look at another positive word. This is for the person you can always trust. If they say they will do something, they do it. The word is dependable.
Dependable. That's a comforting word. Can we spell that out?
Certainly, it's Dependable. Dependable.
D-E-P-E-N-D-A-B-L-E. It comes from the verb to depend, right?
Exactly. To depend on someone means to rely on them. So a dependable person is someone you can rely on. A synonym might be reliable or trustworthy. An example sentence would be, I love working with Mark because he is so dependable. He never misses a deadline.
I need more dependable friends. I have a friend who is always late and sometimes cancels plans at the last minute. What is the opposite of dependable?
You could say they are unreliable or perhaps flaky. Flaky is a very common informal word for someone who cancels plans or isn't dependable.
Flaky. I'll remember that. Okay, what's next? Give me a word for someone who is really good at talking to people. Someone who's the life of the party.
I have the perfect word for that. The word is gregarious.
Oh, that's a fancy one. I don't hear that every day. Gregarious. How do you spell it?
It's spelled G-R-E-G-A-R-I-O-U-S, gregarious.
Gregarious. It sounds a bit like hilarious, but it means something different.
Yes, quite different. Gregarious means fond of company, sociable. A gregarious person seeks out other people. They hate being alone. They're the ones talking to everyone at the wedding. For example, my brother is so gregarious that he made 5 new friends just while waiting for the bus.
Wow, I am definitely not that gregarious. I can be social, but making friends at a bus stop is a whole different level. Is there a difference between gregarious and extroverted?
They're very close. Extroverted is a psychological term regarding where you get your energy. Gregarious is more descriptive of their behavior. They're friendly, loud, and active socially. It's a great B2 or C1 level word to impress your examiner or your colleagues.
I love it. Okay, let's try one more positive one. What about someone who is very kind and understands how other people feel?
That's a crucial trait. The word we use is empathetic.
Empathetic. I've heard sympathetic before. Is empathetic different?
Yes, there's a nuance. Sympathy is feeling bad for someone. Empathy is actually understanding and sharing the feelings of another. It's deeper. You put yourself in their shoes.
I see. So sympathy is standing on the outside looking in, and empathy is stepping inside.
That is a beautiful way to put it. Let's spell it. E-M-P-A-T-H-E-T-I-C. Empathetic.
E-M-P-A-T-H-E-T-I-C. Can you give us an example sentence?
Sure. You could say, as a nurse, she needs to be empathetic to comfort patients who are in pain. It means she connects with their suffering emotionally.
That is a very valuable trait. I think the world needs more empathetic people.
I agree. Now, let's do one that's related to intelligence and detail. This describes someone who is very careful and precise. They pay attention to every little detail. The word is meticulous.
Meticulous. That sounds sharp. Spell it for us, Sophia.
M-E-T-I-C-U-L-O-U-S. Meticulous.
M-E-T-I-C-U-L-O-U-S. So is this like being a perfectionist?
Very similar. A meticulous person does things very thoroughly. They check their work twice. They don't make careless mistakes. For example, the architect was meticulous in her design, ensuring every measurement was exact.
I wish I was more meticulous with my cleaning. I usually just throw things in the closet and close the door.
Well, that is a different personality type entirely. Meticulous people usually have very organized homes.
Okay, so we have ambitious, dependable, gregarious, empathetic, and meticulous. Those are all generally positive things. But we have to face reality, Sophia. Not everyone is a ray of sunshine.
You are absolutely right, Daniel. To be fluent in English, you must be able to describe the negative aspects of personality as well. Sometimes we need to warn a friend about a bad date or vent about a difficult boss. We need words for the darker side of personality.
Exactly. And just saying someone is bad or mean isn't enough. It doesn't tell the whole story. We need specifics.
Let's start with a word that describes someone who only thinks about themselves. They believe they are better than everyone else, and they constantly need admiration.
Oh, I think I know this one. Is it narcissistic?
Yes, that is the one. It has become a very popular word lately. Let's spell it carefully, as it is a bit tricky. Narcisistic. Narcissistic.
That is a lot of letters. Narcisistic. Narcissistic. It comes from the Greek myth of Narcissus, right? The guy who fell in love with his own reflection?
You really know your history, Daniel. Yes, exactly. A narcissistic person lacks empathy and is obsessed with their own image. For example, it was impossible to have a conversation with him because he is so narcissistic. He turned every topic back to himself.
We have all met someone like that. It is exhausting. Okay, what about someone who is the opposite of open-minded? Someone who refuses to change their opinion even when they are clearly wrong.
We have a great word for that. Stubborn is the common word, but a more advanced descriptive word is obstinate.
Obstinate. That sounds like an obstacle, like a rock that won't move.
That is a great memory aid. Yes, like a rock. Let's spell it. Obstinate. Obstinate.
Obstinate. How do we use it in a sentence?
You might say, my toddler is obstinate. She refuses to wear her coat even when it's freezing outside. Or, in a business context, the manager was obstinate and refused to listen to the team's new ideas.
So, obstinate is basically stubborn, but a little stronger, a little more formal.
Precisely. It implies a refusal to be reasonable. Now, let's look at a word for someone who assumes the worst. They always think people are lying or that things will go wrong. They are distrustful of human sincerity.
Is it pessimistic?
Pessimistic is close, but I'm looking for cynical.
Ah, cynical. That is a good one. It is a bit different from pessimistic, isn't it?
Yes, a pessimist thinks bad things will happen. A cynic thinks people are motivated by selfishness. They don't believe in goodness. Let's spell it. Cynical. Cynical.
Cynical. I feel like many people become cynical as they get older.
It can happen. Here's an example. After 20 years in politics, he became cynical and stopped believing that real change was possible.
That is sad, but useful to know. Okay, give me a word for someone who acts without thinking. They get an idea and do it immediately, without considering the consequences.
That word is impulsive.
Impulsive, like buying a car because you like the color, even if you can't afford it.
Exactly. Spell it with me. Impulsive. Impulsive.
Impulsive. Is being impulsive always bad?
Not always. Sometimes being impulsive can be fun and spontaneous, but usually when we describe it as a personality trait, it implies a lack of self-control. For instance, his impulsive decision to quit his job without a backup plan caused him a lot of stress.
I can be a little impulsive with ordering food. I see a picture of a burger and I order it immediately.
That is a relatively harmless form of impulsiveness. Now, let's do one more negative trait. This one is for someone who doesn't care. They have no interest, no enthusiasm, no concern.
Boring?
Stronger than boring. The word is apathetic.
Apathetic. That sounds like empathetic, which we learned earlier.
It has the same root, pathos, meaning feeling, but the prefix a means without, so apathetic means without feeling. Let's spell it. Apathetic. Apathetic.
Apathetic. So if I don't care about politics or the environment or what we're having for dinner, I'm apathetic.
Correct. It's a state of indifference. Example, the voters were apathetic, so the election turnout was very low.
It's a very descriptive word for when someone just checked out mentally.
Those are some heavy words. Narcissistic, obstinate, cynical, impulsive, apathetic. If you meet someone with all 5 of those traits, run away.
Definitely run away. But Daniel, most people aren't purely positive or purely negative. We often find people who are in the middle or whose traits depend on the situation.
That's true. And sometimes what I think is a negative trait, you might think is a positive trait. It's subjective. Exactly. It's all about perspective. For example, take the word frugal. Frugal. It means you're careful with money.
Right. Being frugal is good. It means you save money.
Yes, but if you're too frugal, people might call you stingy. Stingy. Stingy is negative. It means you hate spending money even when you should.
Ah, I see. So frugal is the polite positive version and stingy is the critical negative version.
Precisely. Let's look at another pair. What about frank? Frank.
Frank means honest, right? Like to be frank with you.
Yes, being frank is generally good. It means you speak directly. But if you're too frank, you become blunt. Blunt.
And blunt implies you're being rude.
Yes, a blunt person says the truth without caring if it hurts your feelings. So it's important to choose your words carefully. Are you describing your friend as frank because you admire her honesty, or are you describing her as blunt because she upset you?
That's a really important distinction. It shows that English vocabulary has a lot of emotional weight. You're not just describing the person, you're describing your opinion of the person.
That's the power of language. We shape reality with the words we choose.
I love that. We have covered a lot of individual words. We have the good list and the bad list and the it depends list.
We certainly have, but knowing the words is only the first step. The real challenge is putting them together into natural sentences and using them in real-life contexts.
Right. It's one thing to know the definition of meticulous, but it's another thing to use it when you're complaining about your roommate or praising your assistant.
Exactly. So we're going to move into some role plays. We want to show you how these words sound in a natural conversation between friends.
I love role plays. It helps the words stick in my brain.
In these scenarios, Daniel and I will act out different characters. Listen carefully to how we use the vocabulary we just discussed and pay attention to the tone of voice.
Let's do it. What's our first situation?
For our first scenario, imagine we are two colleagues working in a large marketing firm. We are grabbing a coffee in the break room and discussing a new employee named Marcus who just joined the team. I'll start.
Got it. I'll play the skeptical coworker.
Hey, have you had a chance to meet the new guy, Marcus, yet? He started on Monday in the sales department.
Briefly, I ran into him by the copier. He seems intense. I tried to make some small talk about the weather, but he just nodded and went straight back to his files.
I know exactly what you mean. I had a meeting with him yesterday. He is incredibly sharp, but he comes across as a bit aloof. He didn't really engage in any of the pleasantries before we started.
Aloof is the perfect word. He definitely keeps his distance. But I heard he is a real go-getter. My manager told me that Marcus already closed 2 deals in his first week.
Wow, 2 deals? That is impressive. He must be very tenacious. You can tell just by looking at him that he is all business. He's meticulous with his notes, too. He caught a typo in my presentation that I had missed 3 times.
Really? On his second day? That is bold. Some might say that borders on being arrogant, pointing out mistakes so early.
It could be seen that way, but I think he just has very high standards. He seems like a perfectionist. But honestly, I worry he might rub people the wrong way if he doesn't loosen up a bit. This office is pretty social, and he is acting like a lone wolf.
A lone wolf. Yeah, I can see that. He doesn't seem interested in being part of the pack. I asked him if he wanted to join us for lunch on Friday, and he said he prefers to work through lunch.
That is a shame. Maybe he's just introverted and it takes him a while to open up. Or maybe he's just strictly professional. Either way, he's definitely going to shake things up around here.
For sure. As long as he pulls his weight, I guess it doesn't matter if he isn't the life of the party. But it would be nice if he smiled once in a while.
Give him time. He might surprise us. He might just be incredibly focused.
Okay, scene. That felt very realistic. I think we've all worked with a Marcus before.
I think so, too. Now, let's break down some of the vocabulary and idioms we used in that conversation. There were some really good ones in there.
The first one that stood out to me was when you called him a lone wolf. That is such a cool image.
Yes, a lone wolf. Lonewolf. This is an idiom used to describe a person who prefers to be alone or act independently. They don't like to rely on others or be part of a group.
It isn't necessarily negative, right? It just means they are independent.
Exactly. It can be neutral. In an office, a lone wolf might be very productive, but they might be hard to work with on a team project.
Got it. Then I use the phrase go-getter. G-O-G-E-T-T-E-R. Go-getter.
This is a classic business English term. A go-getter is an aggressively ambitious person. They go out and get what they want. They don't wait for permission.
So if you want a promotion, you need to be a go-getter. You can't just sit at your desk and wait for someone to notice you.
Precisely. Employers love go-getters. It implies high energy and initiative. Now, I used a phrasal verb expression that is very common. I said, he might rub people the wrong way.
Oh, that's a great one. To rub someone the wrong way.
Let's spell the key verb there. R-U-B, rub. The phrase means to irritate or annoy someone without intending to. It comes from the idea of petting a cat against the direction of its fur. If you rub the wrong way, the cat gets annoyed.
That makes so much sense. I never knew where that came from. So if someone has a personality that just annoys you, even if they're not trying to be mean, they rub you the wrong way.
Exactly. Maybe they're too loud, or they interrupt too much, or like Marcus, they're too serious. They just clash with your vibe.
I also called him aloof. A-L-O-O-F.
Yes, aloof. A-L-O-O-F. This means cool and distant. An aloof person is not friendly or forthcoming. They stay physically or emotionally separated from others.
It is often seen as negative, like you think you're better than everyone else.
It can be interpreted that way, yes. It's similar to being cold. Finally, you said he pulls his weight.
To pull one's weight, it means to do one's fair share of the work. If you're on a team, everyone needs to pull their weight, or else someone else has to do extra work.
That is a vital idiom for the workplace. Nobody likes a slacker who doesn't pull their weight.
This is great stuff. It really paints a picture of this guy Marcus. He's a meticulous, aloof, lone wolf who is also a go-getter. He's complex.
Humans are complex, Daniel. That's the fun of it. Shall we move on to a completely different scenario?
Yes, let's leave the office. Let's do something more personal. Maybe a dating scenario? Describing a new romantic interest is the ultimate dating test.
That is a fantastic idea. Let's pretend you just went on a first date last night and I'm your friend asking you how it went.
Okay, I'm ready.
So, Daniel, I've been dying to hear. How was the big date with Elena last night? Spill the beans.
Honestly, Sophia, it was interesting. I'm not sure if there'll be a second date.
Oh no, why? Was she rude?
No, not at all. She was actually very sweet, but she was incredibly timid. Timid. She barely spoke for the first hour. I felt like I was interviewing her.
Oh, that's tough. Maybe she was just nervous. Some people are essentially wallflowers until they get comfortable.
I thought that too, but even when she did talk, she was very wishy-washy. I asked her what kind of food she liked. She said anything. I asked what movie she wanted to see. She said whatever. She had no strong opinions.
Ah, I see. You like someone who's a bit more assertive, someone who knows what they want.
Exactly. I want someone who's decisive. Alina was just too passive, and she was also a bit gullible. I told a clear joke, a really sarcastic one, and she believed me completely. I felt bad.
Being gullible can be difficult. It means she believes things too easily. But was there anything good about her?
Well, she is very down to earth. She isn't pretentious at all. She talked about her family and her dog with a lot of warmth. She wears her heart on her sleeve, which is refreshing. You can tell exactly how she's feeling.
That is a lovely quality. Being authentic is rare these days. But it sounds like you two are just not compatible. You need a spark.
Yeah, she's a nice girl, very wholesome, but I think I need someone more witty and outgoing. Elena's a bit too vanilla for me.
Vanilla? That's harsh, Daniel. But I get it. You want spicy, not vanilla.
Exactly. I want spicy, not vanilla.
Okay, let's pause there. Poor Alina, you were quite critical.
Hey, I was just being honest. Or maybe I was being frank, like we learned earlier.
You were definitely being frank. Let's look at some of those descriptive words. You started by calling her timid.
Timid, timid. It means showing a lack of courage or confidence, easily frightened. It's basically a synonym for shy, but it sounds a little more permanent.
Yes, a shy person might open up eventually. A timid person is generally fearful or hesitant in all aspects of life. Then you used a fantastic idiom, wallflower.
I love this word. Wallflower, wallflower.
A wallflower is a person who has no one to dance with, or who feels shy, awkward, or excluded at a party. They literally stand against the wall like a flower.
It is such a visual word. You can picture someone holding their drink, standing in the corner, watching everyone else have fun.
Exactly. It isn't always bad. Wallflowers are often great observers, but socially it means they are disengaged. Then you called her wishy-washy.
Wishy-washy, W-I-S-H-Y-W-A-S-H-Y. This is a fun one to say. It means indecisive or having no clear opinion.
It is very informal, but very common. If you can't decide where to eat, or you keep changing your mind, you are being wishy-washy. It can be frustrating for the people around you.
Definitely. And then I said she was gullible, G-U-L-L-I-B-L-E, gullible.
This is a great word. If you are gullible, you are easily persuaded to believe something. You are too trusting.
Like if I told you that the moon is made of green cheese and you believed me, you would be gullible.
Correct. It is the opposite of being skeptical or cynical. Then, on the positive side, you said she was down to earth.
Down to earth, this is a compound adjective. It means practical, realistic, and friendly. Someone who was humble and easy to talk to.
Yes, we often use it to describe people who are successful but haven't let it go to their head. They are grounded. And finally, the idiom, to wear your heart on your sleeve.
To wear your heart on your sleeve, it means to make your feelings and emotions obvious rather than hiding them.
If you are sad, everyone knows. If you are happy, everyone knows. You are transparent emotionally.
Which can be good because you are honest, but it can also make you vulnerable.
Very true. And one last slang term you used, vanilla.
Vanilla, V-A-N-I-L-L-A. Obviously, it is a flavor of ice cream, but when we use it to describe personality, it means ordinary, boring, or unexciting.
Just like plain vanilla ice cream without any toppings. It is safe, but not thrilling.
Exactly. I want the Rocky Road personality.
Well, that explains a lot about you, Daniel.
I think those two role plays really covered a wide spectrum. We had the intense workplace environment and the awkward dating scene.
And notice how the vocabulary changed. In the office, we used words like meticulous and go-getter. In the dating scene, we used wholesome and wishy-washy.
Context dictates which words are appropriate.
That is such an insightful point. Personality is viewed through a cultural lens. What is considered a leadership quality in New York might be considered arrogance in Tokyo.
Exactly. And I think for our learners, it's important to know how to navigate those differences. How do you talk about personality without offending someone?
That leads us perfectly into our next discussion. We need to talk about the social etiquette of personality. How do we soften our descriptions so we don't sound harsh?
Right, because if I just walk up to someone and say, you are impulsive and obstinate, I'm going to lose a friend.
You certainly are. We need to learn the art of the softener.
The softener. Tell me more.
Well, in English, we rarely make direct negative statements about people's character unless we are very close to them or very angry. We use mitigating language.
Mitigating language. That sounds technical.
It just means words that make the blow softer. For example, instead of saying, he is lazy, we might say, he can be a bit unmotivated at times.
Ah, I see. A bit, at times, these are the softeners.
Exactly. Or we use the structure tend to. Instead of she is loud, we say she tends to be quite expressive.
That's much more polite. It sounds like an observation rather than a judgment.
Precisely. Let's practice this a little bit before we move on. I'll give you a harsh sentence, and you try to soften it using these techniques.
Challenge accepted. Hit me.
Okay, harsh sentence. He is arrogant.
Ooh, okay. Softened version. He can be a little confident in his own abilities.
That is excellent. Confident in his own abilities is a very polite euphemism for arrogant. Okay, next one. She is nosy. Nosy, meaning she interferes in other people's business.
Nosy, okay, softened. She tends to be very curious about other people's lives.
Perfect. You turned nosy into curious. That changes the whole tone. One more. He is stingy.
He's very careful with his money.
You are a natural diplomat, Daniel.
I'm learning from the best. This is actually really useful for business settings, too. You can't just tell a client they're being stubborn.
No, you would say they have very strong views on this matter.
I love that. Strong views. It's code for stubborn.
It really is. Mastering these euphemisms helps you sound more sophisticated and C1 level. It shows you understand the nuance of social interaction.
So we have the raw vocabulary, the truth, and then we have the polite layer, the social glue.
That is a great way to put it. The social glue. Without it, our conversations would be very bumpy.
Speaking of social glue, I think we should talk about how personality affects our social lives in general. Like, are you an introvert or an extrovert? And does it matter?
It matters a lot. It dictates how we recharge our batteries. And in English, we talk about this constantly. I need some me time, or I need to get out and see people.
Me time, that's a classic phrase. M-E-T-I-M-E.
Yes, it means time spent alone to relax. An introvert craves me time after a party. An extrovert craves a party after too much me time.
I'm definitely an ambivert. A-M-B-I-V-E-R-T.
An ambivert?
Yeah, right in the middle. I like people, but then I need to go home and not speak for 3 hours.
I think most people are actually ambiverts. It's a spectrum. So, Sophia, we have covered the definitions, the workplace, the dating scene, and the polite softeners. What's left?
We need to solidify this knowledge. We've thrown a lot of words at our listeners today. Words like ambitious, gregarious, meticulous, narcissistic, cynical, wishy-washy. It's a lot to digest.
It is a vocabulary feast. So, I think it's time we transition into our final review. We need to recap the absolute essentials, the top 10 words, the masterclass list.
I'm ready for the masterclass. Let's make sure everyone walks away with these locked in their memory.
And after that, we have our question of the day. I have a really good one prepared.
I can't wait to hear it. But first, let's take a deep breath. We have analyzed the human soul today, Sophia.
We have, from the ambitious go-getters to the timid wallflowers, we have covered the whole human experience.
It's pretty amazing how many words English has for just being a person.
It's a language that loves description, and that's why it's so fun to learn.
All right, let's not keep them waiting. Let's head into the final stretch.
Agreed. Let's review.
Actually, Sophia, hold on one second. Before we dive into that final list, there is one major piece of the puzzle we haven't touched on yet. The culture of personality.
That is a very good point, Daniel. We can't just learn the words. We need to know the rules of the game. In English-speaking cultures, especially in the US and UK, how we talk about ourselves is very specific.
Exactly. For example, there is a delicate balance between confidence and arrogance. In many Western cultures, individualism is celebrated. We like people who are unique and bold. But if you walk into a room and say, I am the smartest person here, people will hate you.
You are absolutely right. We value something called modesty. M-O-D-E-S-T-Y. Modesty is the quality of not talking too much about your own abilities or achievements. Even if you are a genius, you're expected to downplay it slightly.
We often call this being humble. H-U-M-B-L-E. So if someone compliments your personality, you shouldn't just agree with them. If I say, Sophia, you are so incredibly generous, and you say, yes, I know, I am the best, that is awkward.
It is very awkward. Instead, the cultural norm is to deflect the compliment slightly or share the credit. I might say, oh, thank you, Daniel. I just try to help where I can. It makes you seem more approachable.
There's also a funny thing native speakers do where they use personality traits as excuses. It's a way to soften a rejection or an awkward situation.
Oh, like the social battery excuse.
Exactly. Social battery is a great metaphor. It refers to the amount of energy you have for socializing.
You might hear someone say, I would love to come to your party, but my social battery is completely dead. It's a polite way of saying, I'm too tired to talk to people without sounding rude. It frames it as a personality need rather than a dislike of the person.
Another common one is using the word morning person. If you're grumpy or slow at 9 a.m., you just say, sorry, I'm really not a morning person.
Or the opposite. Don't ask me to do math right now. I'm a night owl. Nighthowl. A night owl is someone who is active at night. Using these labels helps us navigate social expectations.
It's also interesting how we ask about personality. You can't really ask a stranger, what is your personality like? It sounds too direct, almost like a police interrogation.
That is true. Instead, we ask indirect questions that reveal personality. We ask, what do you do for fun? Or what kind of movies do you like? Or how do you spend your weekends?
And if you really want to know how someone sees themselves, a very common question, especially in job interviews, is, how would your friends describe you?
That is the golden question. It forces the person to step outside themselves. They might say, my friends would say I'm the mom of the group.
The mom of the group. That's a great idiom. It means the person who is responsible, carries the band-aids, and makes sure everyone gets home safely.
Exactly. Or they might say, I'm the daredevil. Daredevil. A daredevil is someone who loves taking dangerous risks.
Speaking of labels, we should probably mention how obsessed people are with personality tests these days. Things like the Myers-Briggs test or even astrology.
Oh, absolutely. It's very common small talk to hear, I'm an ENFP or I'm a Libra. Even if you don't believe in it, knowing the vocabulary of these systems can actually help you in social situations. It gives you a shorthand for describing your character.
If someone says, I'm such a Scorpio, they usually mean they're intense, passionate, and maybe a little jealous. It's just another way we try to categorize the complexity of being human.
But remember, Daniel, while these labels are fun, the most important thing is to be authentic. Authentic. Authentic means genuine and real.
Beautifully said. People can tell when you're faking a personality. Being yourself, your authentic self, is always the best strategy, even in a second language.
I couldn't agree more. Don't try to be gregarious if you're naturally quiet and observant. Be the best version of you.
Okay, I think we have covered the culture, the etiquette, and the philosophy. Now I'm ready for the masterclass.
I think our listeners are ready too. We're going to review the top 10 most useful words from today's lesson. We'll go back and forth. I'll say the word, and Daniel will give a super quick definition. Or vice versa.
Let's do it. Listeners, see if you can remember the meaning before we say it. Number 1, ambitious.
Ambitious means having a strong desire and determination to succeed. You want to reach the top.
Number 2, dependable.
Dependable describes someone you can trust and rely on. They always do what they say they will do.
Number 3, gregarious.
Gregarious means fond of company, very sociable, the person who loves being in a crowd.
Number 4, meticulous.
Meticulous means showing great attention to detail, very careful and precise.
Number 5, empathetic.
Empathetic is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. You feel what they feel.
Okay, now let's switch to the tougher ones. Number 6, narcissistic.
Narcissistic describes someone who has an excessive interest in themselves and lacks empathy for others.
Number 7, cynical.
Cynical means believing that people are motivated by self-interest, distrustful of human sincerity.
Number 8, aloof.
Aloof means cool and distant, someone who is not friendly or forthcoming.
Number 9, wishy-washy.
Wishy-washy is an informal word for someone who is indecisive or has no strong opinions.
And finally, number 10, down to earth.
Down to earth means practical, realistic, and humble, someone with no illusions or pretensions.
Phew, that is a powerful list. If you can use these 10 words correctly, your English will sound so much more advanced.
Absolutely. Instead of just saying he's good or she's bad, you now have the tools to paint a masterpiece.
Now, we want to hear from you. It's time for our question of the day.
Today's question is about self-reflection. We want you to answer this in the comments below. If you could change one personality trait about yourself, what would it be and why?
Ooh, that's a deep one. Would you want to be more ambitious, less sensitive, more gregarious?
Or maybe you're perfectly happy with who you are. Tell us that too. We love reading your stories.
And don't forget to use the vocabulary we learned today in your answer. Challenge yourself to use at least one new word.
We hope this lesson has helped you understand yourself and the people around you a little bit better.
If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend who is also learning English. It really helps the Pink English community grow.
And make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our next lesson. We have some exciting topics coming up.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Sophia. Keep practicing, stay curious, and be your authentic self.
See you next time.
Bye.
The soup pot in the back was full of leftover bone broth. It had been sitting out for hours. The top had hardened into a greasy layer. It was cold, thick, disgusting. And I knew she didn't want me to drink it. She wanted me to kneel. She wanted to see how low I'd go. My throat tightened so hard it hurt. But then I saw Noah's face in my mind. His small hands, his quiet voice. "Mom, you should eat too." And I made my choice. I nodded. Okay. I walked into the kitchen. The lights buzzed overhead. The soup pot sat on the stove like a punishment. I grabbed a ladle, scooped a bowl, and stared at it. The broth was grayish. The fat floated on top in thick, pale circles. My hands shook as I lifted it to my lips. The first sip almost made me gag. It was cold, greasy, bitter. I forced myself to swallow. 1 sip, 2, 3. Tears blurred my vision. They dropped into the bowl and disappeared into the broth. I wiped my face with the back of my hand, but it only made my cheeks smell like onions and soap. I told myself, just keep going. I told myself, Noah needs you. Then the back doorbell rang. Ding. I turned. A delivery driver stood in the doorway, snow melting off his helmet. His shoulders were hunched from the cold, his cheeks were pale, and his lips looked slightly blue. He held a thermal bag against his chest like it was the only thing keeping him upright. "Sorry," he said, breath fogging the air. "I'm here to pick up an order." His voice was calm, but his eyes looked tired. Not just physically tired, the kind of tired that comes from life. He added quietly, "It's freezing out there. Most places won't even let you stand inside for a minute." I glanced at his hands. They were red and shaking, and something inside me tightened, because I knew that shaking. I knew that cold. I knew what it felt like to keep moving even when your body begged you to stop. I stared at the soup in my hands. Then I stared at him. And before I could talk myself out of it, I did the stupidest, most reckless thing I'd done in months. I poured the cleanest, hottest remaining soup into a fresh bowl, grabbed a lid, and walked toward him. "Here," I said, pressing it into his hands. His eyes widened. "Ma'am, I can't take this." "It's not from an order," I said. My voice was small but firm. "It's for you." He stared at the bowl like it was a miracle. Then he took 1 sip. His shoulders dropped, just a little, like his body remembered what warmth felt like. He looked at me, mouth trembling, and whispered, "Thank you." That's when Linda's heels clicked towards us. Click, click, click. And the moment shattered. Linda stormed into the kitchen, her face twisting when she saw the bowl in his hands. "Emma!" Her scream was so sharp it made the delivery driver flinch. "What are you thinking you're doing?" I froze, soup steam rising between us, like smoke. Linda shoved past me and slapped the bowl out of his hands. It hit the floor and exploded. Hot soup splashed everywhere, steaming against the tile. Some of it landed on my shoes. I jumped back, pain shooting through my toes. Linda pointed at me like I was a criminal. "You're stealing from me." "No," I said, voice shaking. "It was just soup. He was freezing." "Freezing?" Linda snapped. "That's your problem, not mine." The delivery driver stepped forward, trying to speak. "It's okay, Linda turned on him. "Stay out of this. You're not even a customer." Then she turned back to me, eyes blazing. "You're fired." My breath caught. "What?" "You heard me.
Fired. Get out. My knees went weak. Linda, please, I whispered. My paycheck. I need it. My son. Linda leaned close enough that I could smell her perfume, and she whispered, cruel and quiet, "You should have thought about that before you decided to play hero." Then she raised her voice again. Get out. I walked out into the snow, feeling like my chest was collapsing. My phone buzzed once, a message from Noah's school. Another reminder.